Welcome to the Newman Podcast. Founded in 2017 by the University of Notre Dame at the invitation of the Archbishop of Dublin Emeritus, Diarmuid Martin, the Notre Dame Newman Center for Faith and Reason fosters the lively interplay of faith and intellectual inquiry to inform and deepen our understanding of God and the modern world. On this podcast, we'll feature stories and conversations from the staff, lecturers, parishioners, musicians, and friends of Newman University Church and the Notre Dame Newman Center for Faith and Reason in Dublin, Ireland. I'm your host, Katherine Dunn, Director of IT and Communications here at Newman, and today is our very first episode.
Woohoo!
Welcome, everyone. Here we are, coming at you live. What's live for us? From University Church, from the Notre Dame Newman Center for Faith and Reason office. I'm here with Jane.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane.
Hello, Jane. Jane is one of our fellows, interns of the House of Brigid, which is a year-long, 1 or 2 year-long volunteer program run through the University of Notre Dame. So she's working here for the year. And we're making a podcast. Here we are.
I'm so excited.
Yes, it should be good. I think for this first episode, we want to talk about an event we had a couple weeks ago that went really well and was just so exciting.
It went so well that we had to stop advertising for it because too many people were coming.
Part of my job is to try to get people into the church, and we were like 2 weeks out, and I was like, I need to stop telling people about this because I'm worried there's going to be too many people, which never happens. But what we were talking about is an event we hosted a couple weeks ago. It was around St. Valentine's Day. And what we did was we put a call out for people to send in photos of their wedding at University Church. This is a very special church for this. I'm not sure every church could put out this call and get this much of a response. But historically, a lot of people have gotten married here because this University Church used to be the college chapel for UCD, and it's in the city center, and it's a nice size. Like, you can have 50 to 100 people here, and it feels full.
Yeah.
So we put out a call for wedding photos. We did this last year as well, and last year I got probably 120-ish.
Yeah.
And this year we put out the call again, and I'm acting like I did it all, but we all got more than twice the amount of photos as last year. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I was looking for it in my notes, but I can't find it. I think we over doubled the amount of photos, right?
Over 300 photos now.
That's crazy. And they're all hanging up still in the church if you want to go see.
They're in our church for a month, so until St. Patrick's Day. And it's so cool. There's photos from like a few weeks ago when people got married in 2024. And then there's photos from 10 years, 20, 30, 40. I think the oldest photo we received was 1923. I also got a letter from someone who was married in 1916, and they weren't married. Their grandparents or great-grandparents were married in 1916. And the picture they sent in was, I think, a little bit later with 5 of their kids and stuff. So it wasn't like a picture from their wedding day, but it was still like she sent a copy of the registrar from the church and when they got married. So it's like,
that's so cool.
Legitimate. But it was such a fun night. Tell them what we did.
Okay, yeah. So, well, first, do you want to kind of talk briefly about the idea behind the Mass first?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll tell you, Jane. The idea behind the Mass. So last year in 2023, we put out a call for photos. And the idea to ask for photos came from just the fact that I've worked here almost 5 years. And I am not joking, at least once a week, someone has come in and been like, my parents got married at this church, or I got married, or my aunt and uncle, or my grandparents, or everyone I know, and their mother got married at this church. So that was always in the back of my mind that, like, okay, this is a special place. This is a special place for people. And Father Gary had an idea of, we do so many weddings here. like, we probably do between 30 and 50. It's fluctuated because of COVID, weddings a year. And we should invite all the couples who've gotten married here in the last year back for, like, some champagne and chocolate around St. Valentine's Day. And I was like, okay. Father Gary's a very good ideas person. I'm more of a doer. I don't always have the big ideas. And then my friend Aoife, who works at the National Gallery, she was like, you should collect the photos and display them, like, from these couples. And I was like, okay, I can see where you're coming. So I decided to combine those ideas and then expand it as well and collect photos and invite all the couples who submit their photos to come back to the church and celebrate their wedding.
And yeah, you just kind of thought it was just going to be a cute little after mass champagne, and then there was like too many people to even, we filled all the pews. And
my goal, I remember Christmas 2022, my goal was like, okay, I want for this project to get 30 photos. That would be great. It'll be a great little display, 30 photos. And then I don't know, they just kept coming and coming, and I was like, oh no. And I had an RSVP for mass, and it was like almost 200 people. And I was like, that's a lot of people. Like, we don't get 200 people at a 6:15 mass. No. We get like 50. Yeah. So it just grew, and it was great. And it's a good problem to have too many people in church. Yeah. And there's just such a buzz at this mass. We've done it twice now because everyone's just so excited to be there. They're celebrating their love, their marriage. A lot of people bring their kids or grandkids. And you get to see your photo up next to these other couples who've been married here. And
it's just fun to walk around and look at all the pictures because they're not in chronological order, which makes it more fun because then you can see the different styles paired up next to each other. And yeah, you can see, like, there's a short dress trend for a little bit, and then, like, you know, then all these girls have a different type of dress, and there's just cool different things.
There's one photo, and the bride's hair is very big, and, like, I don't know, you just look at it, and you're like, that's the 1970s, and it is, like, you see the year, you're like, yes, I was correct. Or, if people told me, like, oh, my brother got married here as well, or my parents or whatever, I would try to put their pictures near each other, so it was really sweet to see the different generations.
Yeah.
And, it was just a great night all around. Yeah. And it's just such a great buzz. And
the church was packed after with everyone just sharing celebrations of their marriage and sharing their stories that they had with everyone else. The choir popped off too. We had special music.
The choir was so good. It was so like good. Special music, but the crazy thing is it wasn't at the same time. Like, that's our choir every single Sunday at 6:15. So people are like, you got this special choir. We're like, yes and no. We did, like, special songs, but
that's the number one thing people asked me after when they knew I worked here was, oh my gosh, like, did you guys hire the choir? I was like, no, we do this every Sunday.
We are here every week. And that's what I wanted to, like, emphasize to everyone. Like, these are fun, the wedding photos, but come back to mass every week, please. I want to see you here. It was so fun. So fun. So yeah, the photos are up from mid-February to mid-March, and we'll probably do it again next year. But a fun thing that we did on the night of this mass is I was just talking to all these couples, not even couples, some of them were widows, and just they had so many cool stories to tell about their wedding here and about, like, the story around it. And I was like, how do I capture this in a way that people can hear it, and I don't know, once they have moved on, their story can live on. And so I just took my phone out and I started recording. They knew I was recording them, asking people to tell their story. So I think we're going to share some of them here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so the first two that we're going to play, one of them is from a man named Liam O'Keefe. He was so cute. He sent in his photo via post, and then so I sent him a letter back. And then he showed up, and I was like, oh, here he is in the flesh. And so he was married to Phyllis Talbot on the 31st of December, 1969. They were both there at the mass. It was very sweet. And then the second person we're going to hear from is Monica. She was married to Barry on the 9th of January, 1974. And they actually celebrated their 50th anniversary in January, 2 months ago. So they found out about this event while they were visiting the church for their 50th anniversary.
Oh, sweet.
So I'll play their little stories first.
I married Phyllis Talbot on the 31st of December 1969 here in University Church. Father Brendan Lawless from University Church was the celebrant. It was touch and go whether my wife would be allowed to get married or not. She had a very bad dose of the flu, and we begged the doctor to let it go on. So we had it here, and my best man, Noel Lennon, who since died, had Librium capsules for me so as I wouldn't be nervous. So we were here anyway, and gold and silver ID wed. And it was the day the half crowns went out of circulation in Ireland, and I gave her 2 half crowns with the gold, with gold and silver ID wed, because I knew she couldn't spend them. So we had 3 nights in the Shelbourne Hotel for £27, and we went to see Oliver in the Ambassador Cinema. We went to see Fiddler on the Roof, and we also went to the pantomime in the Gaiety with Maureen Potter. Now, behind us in the pantomime were neighbours of ours. They didn't know we were on honeymoon, and they offered us a lift home, but we were going back to the Shelbourne. But anyway, the next morning, the 1st of January, we were walking across O'Connell Street, and Arthur Fields, the man who took the photographs on O'Connell Bridge, took our photograph, and it appeared in his book many years later, Man on the Bridge.
Oh, very good. And how many years have you been married now?
55 years this year, please God. I'm still standing.
Very good.
Lost my hair, but still standing.
50 years ago, so we arrived here. It was going to be a very small wedding, and the sun shone, and we had to go and take photographs in the freezing cold, even though the sun was shining, in Stephen's Green. And Father MacDonald, I think, was the priest who was here at the time, and he was from Mullingar. And we had 4 Columban fathers on the altar helping us to celebrate, because Barry is a former Columban father.
Oh, very good. And were you visiting from Australia, or were you
No,
living
we're
in Australia?
Irish, but we had gone to live there, and we came home because we needed all our families at the wedding.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Good, thanks.
Okay, so that was Liam and Monica. I think it's incredible that Liam and Phyllis, £27 in the Shelbourne for 3 nights.
Yeah.
It's also so funny because so many people still do that. They go over to the Shelbourne after their wedding, walk through the green.
Some things don't change.
They don't change 55 years later.
Yeah.
And then Monica as well, visiting the church on their 50th anniversary. So sweet. And coming back from Australia so they could be with all their family.
Yeah.
The next 2 we're going to hear from are Timmie and Vivien. Timmie was married to Brian in 1966, and she was telling me her brother was also married in the church. So I put their photos together. It was very sweet. And then Vivien, she heard about the project from the newspaper. She was married to Michael in 1968 in the church.
My name was Timmie Flynn, Kathleen Flynn. I married Brian Maurer, so now Timmie Maurer. And I had been living in England, but I was in university here, met my husband. And when it came to getting married, my mother had died, and so my connections with England were much less. And so, as we had obviously been in university around the corner in Elsford Terrace, this is where we decided to get married.
Very good. And you weren't the only one in your family to get married here, right?
No. My sister-in-law, my husband's sister, and both of my brothers.
Oh, very good.
All got married here. And an uncle of my husband's, who was a Jesuit in Hong Kong, came back to marry us here.
Happy memories of the day then?
Oh, it was absolutely wonderful. And a friend of my husband's made a wonderful film of it. We saw it once.
Oh,
before it got burnt in a house fire. So
At least you have the memories.
So no, but we have the memories we had without the photographs.
Very good.
But no, it was a very, very special place, a very special place for us.
Yeah, my name was Vivien Veale, and I married Michael Igo. We were both had studied at University College Dublin, so I had a particular attachment to this church, and I wanted to be married in it. So it was 2nd of March 1968, and it was kind of a bright, cold, sunny day. And it was quite cold. I don't know how I didn't freeze to death. And we had our reception then across in the Shelburne Hotel.
Ah, very good.
Well, we both studied at UCD. Michael did a BCom, and then he did a Master of Economic Science. And I did a BA, and later I went back and I did a PhD. So it was a very happy day.
Very good.
And we're still married.
And how many years married then?
Well, you have to subtract 1968 from 2024. It's about...
Still very impressive.
It's 56,
55,
is it?
56, yeah.
About 56 years, yeah.
So that was Timmie and Vivien. You could see the trend of UCD Shelburne coming up again.
Yeah.
But that comes with the territory. They were both so sweet. The next two we're going to hear from, the first woman, her parents were Margaret Jane and Joseph Jeremiah. Great names. And they were married in the church on the 30th December 1940. And so when she submitted her photo originally, she wasn't sure what the date was that they got married. So she was like, it's either the 29th or 30th, I don't know. So I went into the sacristy and found the record to confirm it was the 30th, not the 29th. And I forgot that I had done that. I think I did it last year.
Yeah.
So she came in, she was like, you looked it up for me. And I was like, what? Oh, yeah, I completely forgot I did that.
It up. Oh my gosh.
I figured we needed to know the right date.
Right.
And then the other couple we're going to hear from is Philomena and her husband, Michael. They were married in 1962.
So who is this?
This is my father, Jeremiah Joseph Dineen, and my mother, Margaret Jane Connaughton. And she was from Roscommon, so she went to UCD.
Okay.
He was from Limerick. He went to UCC.
Yes.
They both started teaching in Portlaoise, and they met there.
Very good.
Right, and he asked her, would she set up a school with him in West Cork? And she said she would. Wow. So they went to Clonakilty and they set up a secondary school for boys there in 1937.
Yes.
Now, this was a few years before they married.
Okay.
Yeah. She maintains they weren't going out together at that stage. I don't know. So then they had 6 children, and he died, unfortunately, of cancer in 1953.
Wow.
But she kept the school going and was amalgamated with another school in 1980. And their first son, their first child, there were 6 of us, 3 boys and 3 girls. Their first son was professor of mathematics in UCD.
Oh, wow.
All his life, and he died less than a month ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So are these your parents? Or
my parents.
Oh,
my
very
parents. Good. There were 3 boys and 3 girls.
Okay.
So the eldest boy spent his career in UCD.
Wow. Where his mother went.
Yeah. Yes, where his mother went, yeah.
Oh, that's very sweet.
So that's the story.
Well, thank you for sending their photo in.
No,
Delighted,
yeah.
Yeah, well, my name is Philomena Nugent, and I married Michael Devitt, and we met in America. Now, my husband went to University Church here, beside the church. He went to UCD, where there was no UCD wasn't built at the time, and so university was right beside the church. That was his reason for wanting to get married at this particular church, because he had been here many, many times.
Yeah. And what do you remember from the day?
It was the 1st of May. It was a beautiful sunny day, and after the wedding here, we walked across the street to Stephen's Green, and the cherry trees were in full bloom, and some of the petals had fallen down. It was like walking on a sea of confetti. a beautiful, beautiful day.
Very good. Well, thank you. That's
I
perfect.
think that was so cute how she described the petals on the ground.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
That'll be soon and very soon in the green.
I'm excited.
We are slowly moving from winter into spring.
I haven't been in Ireland in the spring yet, so I'm excited.
It's the long nights or like long days where the sun doesn't go down till 10 or 11 is peak Ireland.
Okay.
It's very good.
I'm excited.
But you can see the trend there again. It's
Yeah.
UCD, Connections, Shelburne,
Yeah.
Stevens Green. I think it's sweet that Philomena and Michael met while they were in the States. I didn't know. I forgot she had said that.
Yeah.
It's very sweet. So the next two we're going to hear from. The first is Breege. She was married to Jim in 1974 in the University Church. And then the second is Andria. She was there with her husband and two little boys. They were married in 2011. And it's funny because her kids were there and they were trying to find the picture of Andria and David, her husband, and couldn't find it on the board. There were a lot of pictures. It's just taken them a little longer. But I had used their picture for our advertisement. So their son saw it on the flyer first. And it was just funny.
That's cute.
She was kind of like, no, it's not there. And then she's like, oh yeah, there it is. But she said her aunt and uncle were visiting the church and saw an ad about our project. So that's how they heard about it. So
you never know how people hear about it.
No, you don't.
Random
It
connections.
could be anything. Yeah. So here are their stories.
We had a lovely... my name is Breege Moore. It was Breege Laffin, and we had a lovely wedding here. There were 3 weddings that day. There was one at 2, 3 and 4. So we just had to be fast, on time, in and out, and in the hour. And it was a lovely experience, lovely church.
Any advice for people getting married, or what's some of your favorite memories from being married?
Take the good days with the bad ones. We're 48 years on, so it's been lovely.
And are you the only one in your family to be married here? Are there others?
No, my son was married here in 2009, I think. He'd kill me if I get that wrong. He's away at the moment, so himself and his wife and children are away, Aoife, and they were married here as well. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you. That's perfect.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
So the quirky thing is we got married on New Year's Eve, and because it was obviously New Year's Eve, I can never actually recall, was it 2010, 2011 or 2012? So we're going to go for the middle, which is 2011.
Wow, impressive still.
And I did have an apron at work I wore with Bride.
Yeah.
Actually, it was 2010.
Was it 2010?
I think it was 2010 because the beast and the snow came the year before. And no one could do any, logistics around town or anything, so we couldn't go find a venue, we couldn't go look at churches, you couldn't go meet the wedding planners. So a whole, 12 months had passed. And, so we had snow, we had New Year's Eve, and on the day we got married, it was great because it was that lovely flat light. Photographer was delighted. So it was great, so it was fun.
What's your favourite memory from the day then?
Oh my gosh, I think it was just meeting family and friends and everyone being together in the same place at the same time, because there's no other time in your life that everyone you know and love is in the same room ever. So that was a really magical thing. It's and we got married, we got the reception in the Shelburne. So it was great.
Well, thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I love that answer.
That was so sweet.
From Andria. I think it's so true, yeah. What other day do you have everyone that you love in one room?
Yeah.
And it's so special. Okay, and then I have our final little story. It's from Declan Murray. Was married to Freddie Murray on the 27th of March 1967. So here's our final little story.
Her name is Declan Murray.
And
I married Winifred Carney, that was Freddie Carney, 27th of March 1967.
So tell me a little bit about the day.
The wedding, the mass was arranged for 1:30. We arrived on time, but the previous wedding hadn't finished. So when my future bride arrived, she had to drive around the green, waiting until yes. And then after that, the ceremony was my wife's uncle was the priest marrying us, and everything was just so smooth. What else can I say about then? The the following day, we went on our honeymoon then. Mm-hmm. We had our reception in the Shelburne, in Hibernian, and the following day we went off to Portugal. Now, the nice thing is that 50 years later, on our 50th wedding anniversary, we came back to the church here. We had just pre-arranged a Mass, and my wife and I did the readings for the Mass. And the following morning, we set off again on our second honeymoon.
2 honeymoons.
2 honeymoons, yes. Back to the same hotel, the Hotel Vasco da Gama in Montegordo in Portugal. And interesting, when we arrived in the hotel, I said to the reception desk that we're coming on our second honeymoon.
Yeah. I
showed them some photographs that I had brought with you. They gave me a special card, and we had a 20% discount on all our spending for the week. Yes.
So which honeymoon was better, the first one or the second?
That's a secret.
Perfect.
But, and subsequently, I used to work in UCD. I was lecturing in UCD, so I had connections with UCD and with Newman. So often we came here on retreats and so on.
Oh, that's perfect.
So,
thank you.
So nothing else, I think.
It's very good to welcome you back anyway.
Yes.
So that was our last little story.
Yeah, I liked it.
He was so fun because he brought in copies of the photos from their wedding almost 6 years ago, I think he said. And then they recreated the photos.
At the altar, right?
Yeah, like after their 40th or 50th, I can't remember the exact date, but they recreated the photos in the church, and then they also went back to where they went on their honeymoon and recreated photos from there, just like by the seaside or wherever. So he was showing everyone those photos, and that was just such a great part of the night too. Is everyone had something in common to talk about? Yeah. Like they all got married in the church. So yeah, there's our stories. Hopefully we can collect some more next year when we do the Mass. But it was just a joy to meet everyone, and like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think all our staff did, and yeah. So I think this is the end of our very first episode of the Newman Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, let us know, subscribe and comment and do all the things. Our hope is to release 1 or 2 a month. Some of them just amongst our staffs chatting, and some of them will be interviews with some of the lecturers we have here or other friends of the Notre Dame Newman Center for Faith and Reason.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Emil. Bye. This podcast was produced and recorded by the Notre Dame Newman Center for Faith and Reason. Founded in 2017 by the University of Notre Dame at the invitation of the Archbishop of Dublin, the Center fosters the lively interplay of faith and intellectual inquiry to inform and deepen our understanding of God and the modern world. Inspired by Saint John Henry Newman, the Center seeks to make God known, loved, and served through concerts, lectures, masses, and prayers designed especially for the young urban adult who live and work in Dublin City Centre. Our efforts of evangelization are aided by a robust social media presence and by coordination with other Catholic and ecumenical groups. The Center is situated at Newman University Church, Our Lady Seat of Wisdom, a small but thriving parish community in St. Stephen's Green. Visit newman.nd.edu or follow any of our socials at ND Newman Center for more information.